it's been a dry spell once under lockdown, right? We couldn't go out and see the movies. SIFF, the Seattle International Film Festival last year, was canceled altogether. There was certainly no time to get up and running virtually. And so it was a real treat to have SIFF do a virtual film festival. And that ran for 11 days, and it just ended Sunday, this past Sunday. And wow, got to immerse myself in, oh golly, films from all around the world and recharge those batteries that hadn't been charged for 2 years. And then to turn around and take a look at the Oscar nominations with a serious eyes. These nominations for Best Picture this year are pretty wonderful. I think they're very representative of what's happening now. I love the different cultures that are represented in the top 8, the history, and I thought that touched on a lot of relevant points this year, which is something that Hollywood is a little slow to do sometimes. So this was really great. And I thought maybe we might want to talk about the Best Picture nominations. Yep, good. And if there's anything you're passionate about the film, chime on in. I would love to get your thoughts too. Okay, so Best Picture, we'll take it alphabetically, is The Father. Wow. Written and directed, first-time director Florian Zeller, based on his play.
That's the most incredible film I have seen in years.
Oh, nice, Sheila.
I absolutely, and the tears at the end of joy for the kindness, I never mind. I loved that movie. That moved me. That was the best movie for me of all of them.
Nice. Oh,
and
good.
I saw them all. I saw them all. Thanks to Carolyn, I saw them all.
Yay,
yes, it was amazing. This movie is amazing.
Well, and I also love Rufus Sewell. I mean, even when he's playing a bastard, he's amazing to watch. I thought he was great. I thought the brilliant bit for me in the movie was the disjointedness of the film that keeps us off balance, just like Hopkins' character and his situation keeps him off balance. And I also love that the similarity of the 3 sets. Do you notice that? The long hallway back to the bedroom, and each set looks the same except the furniture changes and the formica, right? But in the kitchen, no wonder the poor guy was off balance. And the whole idea that people's faces kept changing as you're getting into the story, and it was brilliant, I thought. My least favorite moment was Aisha Darkar's very tiny role as the doctor. Aisha Darkar, you might remember her from 1998's movie from India called The Terrorist, which I think 13 of us saw that week. I could not sell that picture to save my life. Or 2006's Outsourced. Do you remember that one? Where, look for Outsourced. It's a local filmmaker. Oh, I can't remember his name right now. And also Aisha had the role of Queen Jamila in Star Wars, right? So this girl can act, and she's gorgeous, and she fascinates me. And here she's cast in a throwaway role of the doctor, and we should be seeing more of her on our screens. So it's a lack of imagination in casting directors worldwide. So, and I thought Anne Hornaday of the Washington Post had the best quote about the father. The father provides sensitive, superbly compassionate insight into many things, including the fragility of dignity, the ghost prints left by love and grief, and the abiding mysteries of consciousness itself. Wow, that's poetry right there. And
oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I just love that quote. And yeah, no, I would not be upset if this won the best picture.
Thank you, TJ. We agree.
Yay!
I said the reason I was in tears at the end was not because I was sad. I was not sad at the end. The joy, the kindness and tenderness of that nurse at the end.
Yeah.
Or is that the doctor?
No.
That's the nurse. It was the nurse. Yeah, that she was there, and it went on and on and on forever, and it just like, whoa! I just wept because of her kindness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Don't you love that we go into the dark to see the light, or to laugh a few laughs or cry a few tears, and that's the magic of movies to me.
Right.
Yeah, and I also had it's interesting because he's such a smart man that he doesn't seem to realize he has dementia until way toward the end, or at least he doesn't admit. And I was surprised that Olivia Colman never said to him, "Dad, you're sick. You can't trust your mind."
No, she would do that though.
Better.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Anyway, then the other film, in alphabetical order, Judas and the Black Messiah. Wow. And wow. I never knew what the Rainbow Coalition was, but I was all of 13 years old back in 1968 and not terribly politically connected at the time. But the Rainbow Coalition, I thought, wow, you take the angry, deservedly angry Black Panthers, deservedly angry Latinos, and deservedly angry downtrodden poor whites, and when you get them together and you've got everybody holding hands in a rainbow coalition towards social change, I immediately understood why it had the establishment so scared, right? I mean, and if remember the 60s, geez Louise, anybody who stood up to authority was being shot at the time, right on camera. Well, just like today. You would have thought that would have changed in 50 years. But anyway, I just loved it. I thought it was, the script provides both Lakeith Stanfield, who's the informant, William O'Neill, and Daniel Kaluuya, Fred Hampton, with great material, but it's those two actors which elevate this picture to Oscar level, I thought. I mean, the writing's good, certainly the direction was fine, but it's those two men. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then we come to Mank, Best Picture contender, directed by David Fincher. This is his 11th film. The script was written by his father, Jack Fincher. I thought that was an interesting fact. Brilliant bit for me was the cinematography. Eric Messerschmidt, I think he's nominated. Yep. He made the film look like Citizen Kane to me, from the opening shots to the credits to the Hollywood back in the 30s feel. I mean, everything just evoked Orson Welles. Even the shot of the bottle falling out of the hand of the unconscious Mank. Same thing as the snow globe falling out of Orson Welles' hand in Citizen Kane. And there are dozens of these types of shots. And you might not have noticed, but something that made my little heart sing, they even included changeover blips in the upper right-hand corner for when, did you notice that, Lawrence? I know, I love that stuff. Loved it. It was like, whoa, was that a changeover blip? It's like, are they still using those things? And then I thought, that's when I went, no, they're not. But for me, just like Citizen Kane, it leaves me emotionally untouched. I had no real emotion for any of the characters, not even Gary Oldman's Mank. The guy was self-destructive to no end, but wow. James Berardinelli of Real Views said, Mank may be Fincher's most technically challenging production to date, but it suffers from what some might consider to be the director's Achilles heel. His laser focus on perfection results in a tepid emotional temperature. Yeah. Yeah. So it was.
Charles Dance was good.
Janet,
didn't you like Charles Dance in it? I thought he did well.
It's always good to see Charles dance.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was lavish and it was so Hollywood. And I'm guessing, like in most any other year, this is would walk off with a bunch of awards. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think the politics are too volatile. And although, I mean, we just had the verdict handed down in, oh, what's that cop's name? And yeah,
Chauvin.
Chauvin, right, Derek Chauvin. And I was shocked and amazed. All three counts. Politics are changing here. This is the winds of change coming, and it's And look at the movies. I mean, Judas and the Black Messiah, the Trial of the Chicago 7. It's only taken 50 years, but I think it's happening here. No, don't get Sheila started. And then the other film is next is Minari. Best film contender, directed by Lee Isaac Chung. I wish I had seen it on the big screen. I mean, that would have helped. That would have been lovely. It was nice to see Will Patton again. And I'm really glad that it's Oscar nominated like it is. But I'm going to quote James Berardinelli again. The writer-director tries hard to make Minari what it is, a collage of remembrances seen through the eyes of a child, then filtered through the perception of the 40-something man he became. It's rewarding, but not overpowering type of experience. And I liked it. I loved the grandmother. I mean, okay, who among us did not love the grandmother? Okay, I see no show of hands. There we go. Oh, Sheila! Oh my God, Sheila, what is wrong with you?
No. I loved her.
Oh, good. And so, yeah, I mean, I liked it. I respected it. But I wasn't emotionally engaged. And then we come to Nomadland. Best Picture contender, Frances McDormand, David Strathairn. Always great to see those two. And the third character in that movie was the landscape. And I was lucky enough to get out to the theater and see it on the big screen. To me, this is a film about connection and disconnection. And I didn't have a real connection with Fran. She was a cipher to me, and it was hard for me to care about her. I kept trying to get under her skin to see what her history was, what motivated her, how she felt about things. And I was curious, but I wasn't emotionally invested. But I liked the film and respected it because it showed me a culture I didn't even know existed. Any of you guys aware of this culture? No, it was pretty amazing. And that there are so many retired people so desperate for money that they lead a nomadic life is an indication of a dispassionate society here. It's heartbreaking. Fran's circumstances reminded me so much of Wendy and Lucy, Kelly Reichardt's film. I mean, Kelly Reichardt's film always has this element to it. But the similarity between Nomadland and Wendy and Lucy, that both women were one tiny, tiny mishap away from devastating calamity, right? I mean, anyway, I thought the film whitewashed Amazon culture quite a bit. I mean, it just seemed like a club, with hey, and like nobody's running around like a deranged dog piled with packages. But I wouldn't expect the filmmakers to bite the hand that was so essential to their project. But yeah, that wasn't my favorite film. Am I stepping on any sacred cows or anything? No. Okay. Yeah. Then we come to Promising Young Woman. OMG, right? Okay. Or as I call it, the hashtag Me Too movie. And it's a first feature film for writer-director Emerald Fennell. She's an actress. You've seen her in The Crown. It was nice to see Alfred Molina again. Always a treat. I really liked Bo Burnham as the love interest. He was great. My favorite little brilliant bit was the short clip of Robert Mitchum in Night of the Hunter. Another film about toxic male masculinity, right? Okay. It was a bold movie. I loved the dialogue. That was fabulous. And it's a hard movie. Wow. It was advertised as a horror flick, I thought, and that initially turned me off. I didn't plan to see it until it was Oscar nominated. But for the characters involved, and even for the viewer, it kind of was a horror flick. I hope that the esteemed Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh, wets the bed every time he thinks about this film being out there. Anyway, but I'm glad it's Oscar nominated because it means the film will have more eyes on it. And so this, to me, is an important film. And if this would win the Oscar, I'd be just super happy. And I had thought, when I watch a movie, sometimes I just take notes. And so my stream of consciousness notes were guys cover up guy behavior. Rape and murder are nothing to them as regards women. Not all guys, Lawrence. Sorry, I'm not. Okay, this is not. Even her boyfriend throws Cassie under the bus when talking with a detective. The lengths a woman has to go through to be taken seriously. So,
talk about Carrie.
Talking about Carrie, yeah.
Just talk about her. I think she was magnificent.
Oh, Carrie Mulligan. Oh, yeah. As Cassie.
Of course, I would go see her anywhere, but
right. I mean, and I couldn't help but think, oh my God, I think the last I saw Carrie Mulligan was in An Education, where she played this innocent high school girl, right? And here she is as almost Carrie, Stephen King's Carrie. She was magnificent. She just carried the picture, and her steely front, no matter what. She never showed anger. Pardon me, Carolyn?
I just wanted to, I wanted to say, I'll take my hand down. I just wanted to say that if you haven't seen it, you can get it for $2 at Redbox.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Maria, did you see it? Oh, did you like it?
Well, yes, I thought it was brilliant. She was brilliant. But I did have problems with the end because she does lose. I don't know if people have seen it yet. And to have so much of that because of the childhood thing and not to have grown and so the guys win at the end. So I would have, that bothered me.
Well,
I would have liked to have a little, but it was so powerful. It was so
it
powerful.
was so powerful. And Christina, if you haven't seen it, I think she does win at the end. She makes her point.
Oh yeah.
And that's all she wanted was justice for her friend.
But she had to sacrifice herself for that justice, and I just wish that she could have.
I know.
I mean, she sacrificed her whole life to do it, and her mission and all that, and that was great. I just wish it wasn't that final sacrifice.
Right. Yeah. No, I thought it was perfect. I mean, what the film is saying, the lengths that a woman does have to go through to find justice, to be heard, to, in some of these cases, I think it reflected life.
Could I ask Maria? I agree with you. It's sad that she lost her life, but that was her life, getting justice for her friend. So in that, she did achieve her goal. So I thought that was appropriate.
Yeah, she sure did. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that was fair. Yeah. Thanks.
No, I haven't watched it yet, but I will watch it. What interested me the most is the person that plays Camilla Parker Bowles on The Crown, directs the movie, and I think she wrote the movie, didn't she? Didn't she write the screenplay?
Yep.
And I found her also fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Yep. I heard her interviewed on Fresh Air, and she knows who she is and what she wants and where she's going. And this script really shows that. Yeah. All right. Our next film, The Sound of Metal. Oh my gosh. If this one wins, I'd be perfectly happy. It was something. Director, producer Darius Marder, who wasn't Oscar nominated for director. He co-wrote the script with his brother Abraham. There's a Best Actor nomination for Riz Ahmed and a supporting actor for Paul Racy, the leader of the deaf community. Despite its hellish music, it ended up being a lyrical, beautiful story. And my stream of consciousness notes as I'm watching this movie, when you see Lou and what's the main character's name? Anyway, Lou, the guy who's going deaf, Riz. When you see Lou and Riz in the camper van and he can't hear, you come to realize before they do that their way of life is over, right? And how scary is that? That's what they're feeling, is this fear, even if they haven't consciously come to understand. But wow, this is over. This is not just temporary, or if it is, it's a long temporary, like COVID. And then I really felt for Lou, the girlfriend, who suddenly isn't even heard in their relationship. Right. I mean, how many of us feel that way in a relationship from time to time? Okay, like, we don't have to raise our hands, but you know what I'm saying, ladies. And I really felt for Lou in that moment, and well, she had the luxury of dumping him off into a different community. There's a thought. And I also like how the filmmaker didn't tell us how much time elapsed in the deaf house, right? I mean, Riz learned sign language, right? So it had to be more than a couple of months.
Oh yeah.
And but I like that he didn't let us know how long it lapsed. I was soul crushed along with him with the results of his implants. He can now hear the noise of humanity. He just can't get to the depths of humanity with this. I think it should definitely win the Oscar for Best Sound. Definitely, hands down. I just loved it. Beautifully acted and directed. And I loved the finale song.
I was just going to say, yeah.
It was lyrical and soft and beautiful. I mean, what a contrast from the beginning of the movie and that song at the end of the movie. But this is where he is now.
And there he is sitting on that lovely bench and here and the bells. And, you know, it was just, the ending is gorgeous.
Oh, I just loved it so much.
And it goes on and on and on forever. And you sort of luxuriate in the joy of it.
Oh.
Yes, beautiful.
He's found peace, you know, and as Paul Raci said to him, you know, when he comes to this house of this deaf community, he says, you know, Paul says to him, we're not here to fix this. We're here to fix this.
All right.
Right. And Justin Chang of the LA Times had a gorgeous quote. He said, by zooming in and out of his protagonist's consciousness, director Martyr casts aside any pretense of omniscience. He empathizes, but he also knows when to detach. Ruben's journey is a privilege to witness, but it's one he'll ultimately have to walk alone. It was just, anyway, loved it. And then we come to the trial of the Chicago 7. Okay? There's no director nomination for Sorkin, but original screenplay for him. Best ensemble casting ever. The dialogue was so wonderful, I couldn't even take a single note while watching for fear that I'd miss something incredible, and I would have. I mean, the bon mots just kept coming. This movie was a wordsmith's wet dream, and I was delightfully saturated with wit and absurdity and humor and pathos. When Bobby Seale was brought back into the courtroom, how can this happen in this country, even back in the 60s? Anyway, full of fear, exhilaration, frustration, and I'd watch it again tomorrow. And it's the brilliant bit for me was them incorporating Haskell Wexler's documentary cinematography, which he took guerrilla style back in 1968 outside the Democratic National Convention. Wow. Yeah. And the best quote for me was Richard Whittaker of the Austin Chronicle. It all comes back to Sorkin's core idea, implicitly and expertly expressed, that the tactic of violence and provocation, then making the victims seem like thugs, is still performed today in Portland, St. Louis, New York, just as it was in Chicago. And it's also a reminder that there was no Chicago 7 until the establishment brought them together.
Right.
Yeah. So, Rainbow Coalition, baby. Yep. So.
What did you think of Colin?
Oh, he was great. But then,
like, who is this guy?
Expected of him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy can do anything.
Yep.
And he's so smart. Oh, geez, get him involved in a political discussion on the radio and just sit back and watch your hair blow back. He's fabulous. So, yeah, well, what would you guys like to see win the Oscar? Anything?
The father.
the father for Sheila.
Yeah. Definitely. I hope it's not Minari. I'm afraid it's going to be Minari.
Well, but that's a positive in that it's inclusive and it's right. I mean, you can't say Oscar's so white.
Well, this is true, but I didn't get anything. I love the little kid and I love the grandmother, but so, it was sort of like, okay. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned, who isn't on there that I'm upset about is Ma Rainey's Black Bottomed Blues. I love that movie.
I know you did, Sheila, and I'm heartbroken because that's the one I didn't get to this week to watch, but it's on my list.
Oh my gosh! Wait till you see Olivia Davis come down those stairs at the beginning of the movie. Honest to God, what a piece of work she is. I mean,
I have to watch it just for that scene alone, Sheila. I swear to God, I will send you a text.
And the ending was a bit shocking to me. And Sheila knows what I'm talking about. If you saw it, that totally came out of the blue. It shocked me, but it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed. But
the costumes, aren't they up for an Oscar for the costumes in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom? I think they are.
Costume,
makeup, certainly. If nothing else.
But I agree with you, Karen. The ending at that was, I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, it's like and he's what's the actor's name?
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. That was his last performance before he died.
Yeah, he was deadly. He was really ill when he did that movie.
Yeah, and boy, talk about. That was his last thing that he did. And I mean, and it just tore me up because, he was so conflicted inside and, being so ill as he really was, it was like, it really hits home to you when you watch the ending. I don't want to mess it up for TJ, but that was a shocking ending.
Okay. Good, Karen. Yeah. Well, and I hope he wins the best Oscar. Best actor Oscar. I mean, it's the least we can do for his family.
Yeah.
As much as I would like Anthony Hopkins to win it, but Boseman needs it.
Lawrence, and what was your favorite?
We thought we were watching. I was so excited because I thought, well, this year we've seen a lot of these. Well, cripe, we haven't. We were going from the TV and it would say Oscar nominated films, but I guess they were Oscar nominated, but not necessarily for best film. But the film that we saw that touched me the most was the one with Sophia Loren.
Oh,
I was so.
That's the one that the son directed.
The son directed it.
Oh,
and she's the. It was a beautiful film, and it was the film of these contrasts. Okay, the phone. I gotta go.
What is it? What is the name of it, Lawrence?
It was called
The Life Ahead. The Life Ahead.
The Life Ahead. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know, but the characters. So there was young and old. They're black and white, Jewish and Muslim. It was and she. You would, of course, would not have known it was Sophia Loren. I mean, no makeup, no.
I know. Yes. I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. It was just a fabulous, fabulous movie. I thought. Yeah. So.
Wow. And I saw The Life Within.
The Life.
Pardon?
That Life Ahead. I was amazed that it wasn't in one of the nominations.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't see most of these, but we did see the Chicago 7. And one of the things that stood out for me was I loved at the end where Tom Hayden and Abby Hoffman understood each other. They were so far apart, but they each saw how brilliant the other was, That was very, I mean, the whole thing was you know, I guess too, you've lived through it, you watched it on TV, it's part of your being, and yeah, it was powerful. It was very
I
powerful.
think what I loved about that moment is that you have these two guys who are so diametrically opposed, okay, in everything. But at that moment, you realize they are so much alike.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's probably one of
And
the
they saw it. Yeah. And for them to see that, we saw it, but they got it, you know,
that I loved it. I loved everything about it.
You know what I loved, TJ? I loved watching it with our 30-year-old son.
Oh,
because I was able to, you know, he did not live through that time.
right.
And you know, we discussed it and talking about how, you know, so much has not changed.
Yeah.
And you know, and so it was like, yes, we had the struggle back then. We never can stop struggling for justice ever.
No.
There's no rest for the weary in this, is there?
No.
Well, one thing I wanted to say that I thought Mark Rylance did a great job portraying William Kunstler.
Mhm.
And I want to tie this into a film that I saw at SIF, which will be coming our way as they get their own coalition together. The name of the film is called Who We Are, Chronicling Racism in America. And we saw it at SIF. It won the Best Documentary Golden Space Needle Award. It's the favorite documentary of the whole festival. Directed by Emily and Sarah Kunstler. Wait, could this be William's daughters? Yes, it is.
It could be.
Because they, I think 10 years ago, did a documentary on their father called Disturbing the Universe, William Kunstler. Their father, because he was the most admired attorney and most reviled man in America in his day, taking on these uncomfortable lawsuits and also some not very nice people defending their rights. But this Who We Are was written by Jeffrey Robinson, who, to my mind, is the new James Baldwin. He is going to be the voice of change, legal change in this country. Who We Are. He does a 2-hour presentation of literally chronicling the racism in this country, going back to the founding documents, going to articles, going to newspaper articles, and you'll never be the same once you see this documentary. And Jeffrey Robinson is an attorney in Seattle who had been practicing for 40 years, formerly with the ACLU. He was a defense attorney for dozens of years, and then he was with the ACLU, and he quit his job on March 31st and leapt into this project with the Kunstler daughters, and it's phenomenal. Who We Are.
But it's not available yet, right?
It's not available yet. But if you want to go to whoweare.org, and they're doing a grassroots movement, and it's Jeffrey's and Sarah's and Emily's goal to have this film in every school, in every community, in every corporation, and definitely at the government level.
Wow.
So, it was really an eye-opening experience. So highly recommend it. Look for it, and Who We Are.
Well, I appreciated at the beginning when you just said on this trial ending this week that he was found guilty on all 3 charges. And you're so scared that, you know, there's going to be something, you know, how can it not be, but that it has not been found there, you know, how many of them have gotten away with this forever? So
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
was hope, you know, it was just a little hopeful that there's a beginning of a spark of change.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I mean, and my fear was that they would give him the smallest,
Yeah.
the least,
The lightest
good,
sense,
like
yeah,
some
the lightest.
token sentencing thing. This restores my faith in human nature. So,
And they had such a good jury. They picked such a good jury.
A
They
diverse jury.
Yeah. We've seen a few things lately when it's made a comparison to the Rodney King and the Rodney King trial. And we saw his daughter yesterday, and she said there was not one Black person on the jury for his trial, number one.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just it's painful.
You know, what just gives me the chills is that what if that young gal wouldn't have videotaped?
Yes, it would have
right.
happened.
I
It
mean,
would have been another gimme for the police force. Yeah.
And you know, and how many decades of things like this happening that were not documented by citizens has been going on. I mean, it's
More
just
than decades, centuries. Yeah.
Right.
centuries, exactly, centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean,
Centuries.
it just is chilling to think that,
Yeah.
it's awful. So
I'm reading the book Cast right now,
yes.
which
So am I, Sheila. Yeah.
yeah, right on, Janet. Yeah, it's quite an amazing tour de force, I'll tell you. It's very different from her first one, and it's very it's illuminating, as this sounds like, TJ, that the movie is as well, because she takes it for the three different casts, from the Nazi Germany to India to the African American, the three caste systems, and it's really fascinating what she's done with it. I'm getting there.
I mean, even England has a caste system,
Oh, yeah.
right? Oh, sorry, Janet.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I mean, is this how we form a society? Do we need these caste systems? I saw a lovely documentary at SIF from India called "Writing with Fire," and these are women who are running a newspaper. And when you join them in this documentary, they're going to go digital, right? Online, and get more international exposure. These women are untouchables. They're with the Dalit class.
Yep.
Right? Which India says that they've abolished the caste system, or at least the untouchable caste system. But that just doesn't disappear.
No, and according to Wilkerson is still there. It's definitely there.
Right. Yeah. But if you want to see a lovely female empowerment documentary, I'd recommend Writing with Fire. And it should be showing up on some platform here in the next couple of months. Oh, and one film, not that I want to take it away from political change in this country. But one film I just have to say I hope wins the Oscar is Supernova. Did you see that with Colin Firth and Stanley Tucci? It was the most authentic film. Oh my God, it was so authentic. Firth and Tucci play a couple, partners for over 20 years, who are traveling across England in their old camper van, visiting friends and family and places from their past. Following a life-changing diagnosis, their time together has become more important than ever, until secret plans test their love like never before. It was, oh God, it was so fabulous. I wish I'd seen it on the big screen. I wasn't expecting such lovely countryside, funny, touching, authentic.
What's the name of it again, TJ?
Supernova. In real life, TJ, Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth are best friends. They live very close to each other. And when they first started this, asked Stanley Tucci to play the part that Colin Firth played, and he said no, he'd play the other part, and he got Colin Firth to play the part that. And I think it was I haven't seen the film. I've read all the spiel about it, but I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Janet, do it. I swear.
Yeah.
It is so rewarding. And the piano piece at the end,
Yeah.
Colin Firth is really playing that. That man is so talented.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love him.
Oh, yeah.
I would marry.
Sorry, I get him in the next lifetime. But you can have him.
I got him.
So yeah, Supernova, I loved it. And one thing, I saw a couple of the international feature films, not all of them, but I can highly recommend Quo Vadis Aida from Serbia. Oh my gosh, it's based on true events. Bosnia, July 1995. It's inspired by the book called Under the UN Flag. There are no opening credits. You just go right into action.
Under the wheels of a tank.
Oh,
remember the tank. Remember the opening scene is the tank rolling through?
right. Yes. Yes. Oh, right.
Intro. Yeah.
Oh my God. I think that the actress Jasna Jurasek should have been nominated for Best Actress. That was a performance of stellar proportions. It was, oh God, this is the type of film that film festivals around the world are built upon. And so I was really glad to see it Oscar nominated. It's a razor sharp incrimination of failed foreign policies from around the world, and the human cost of a complete administrative failure is made explicit. The UN is supposed to protect these people. The Serbs moved into I have to see how it's spelled so I know how to pronounce it. What's the name of the town, TJ? Srebrenica. Anyway, the Serbs move into Bosnia. This town is destroyed. The UN moves the people into this compound, and then the UN goes on vacation over at headquarters, leaving these poor guys who are trying to help all these thousands of people with no leadership. Anyway, made me write, will we humans ever shed our racial and nationalistic prejudices? So far at my age, I'm going to say no. And Carolyn, since you saw the film, are the men at the end of the movie, when they're in the school auditorium, they had to have been collaborators with the Serbs, because 8,300 men and boys were exterminated.
Yeah.
In that incident.
Yeah, right around that.
These old men had to have been collaborators sitting in that.
Oh, you mean like when she's walking up the stairs or down the stairs and she's walking by those people in the street after she parks the car and walks to her old apartment?
No, this is way at the end where the kids are doing a play and the kids play the peekaboo with the camera.
Yeah.
And she's just standing there, and the camera pans across the audience, and there are 4, maybe 5 older men in the audience.
One wonders if they, my son, that's his area of expertise, so I suggested he watch that so I could get questions answered. I think, for example, her apartment was occupied by someone else, okay? So the Serbs came in after they cleared out Srebrenica. The Serbs came in. Those could have been Serbian men that you were seeing, not collaborators. I think they pretty effectively destroyed all the collaborators, all the residents. So
I think, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That woman carries this movie on her shoulders, and she is phenomenal. It's called Quo Vadis Aida. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's a hard watch, but it's a necessary one. And then to cleanse your palate, one of the other international films up is for Best Documentary, Is it? I think it's under. Wait, hold on, TJ. Documentary feature film.
Yep.
It's called The Mole Agent from Chile. It's a documentary. It's subtitled, written and directed by one man. It's funny, tender film, and stars a tender, charming man. It's a real palate-cleansing delight. 84-year-old Sergio is hired by a detective agency to infiltrate a nursing home because a daughter suspects her mother is being mistreated there. Inside this nursing home are 40 women and 4 men. Sergio encounters a kleptomaniac and a poet, among other sweet, warehoused people. In an era when the pandemic has shown a chilling light onto the elderly, this humane documentary provides a calming balm. So look for it now. It's on, I think I saw it on Vudu, V-U-D-U, and it's only a couple bucks to watch it. It's 84 minutes. But catch it now because it's going to be shown on PBS in their POV segment later in the year, and it may be cut from its 84 minutes.
What's the name of it again?
The Mole Agent.
M-O-L-E?
M-O-L-E.
Yep.
A-G-E-N-T. I mean, the mole is an agent. So anyway, but The Mole Agent. It's adorable. And when you first watch it, you think, oh, this documentarian is setting up this scenario. I mean, is this really a documentary? And once Sergio goes in, and they give him some James Bond equipment and stuff, and they're teaching an 84-year-old new technology, like how to use an iPhone. And it's charming and funny. And then when Sergio takes over and he's his own man and he's himself, it's really heartwarming. So,
Can I recommend another palate cleanser?
yeah.
The TV series Call My Agent, the French series. Have you seen it?
No.
It's on Netflix. It's called Call My Agent. It's an agency, but it's in jokes. Like one of the agent's dog's name is Jean Gabin. That's the name. A joke. But it's very light. It's very funny. There's been 3 seasons. It's going to become a feature film, and then it's 4 seasons. They're going to make a feature film of it, and then they're also going to have another season. And it's an agency. It's it's an agent, and it's the stars, and they bring in stars like Natalie Bay came in, and they're always referencing thing like she didn't get in the Quentin Tarantino film, so it's very in-groupy, but not that much. I mean, it's still very funny. And it's 4 agents.
What is that? Maria, what's it on? What's that on?
Netflix.
It's in French.
Yeah, it's subtitled. You have to do it, but it's worth it.
Yes, it is. I agree.
It's clever.
It is.
Did you see it?
Yes.
We're watching it.
I haven't done all 4 seasons yet, but I think it's clever.
Yeah.
And it's French. It's very French.
Very French.
Neat.
Yeah.
Well, Gina, what are you hoping wins Best Picture?
For me?
Yes.
Well, I haven't seen them all, but I was kind of hoping that something like Chicago 7, but I wanted to watch Promising Young Woman because I had read several crits about it. And so I was hoping that would win, but I don't think it will. But you never know. I think who will win is probably Nomadland. But I wanted something new to win, so that would change our direction.
Yeah, what did you say you thought was going to win?
I think Nomadland is going to win, but I wish another one would.
It's okay, but
And The Father, I noticed, is on at the movie theater this week. I drove down Madison Avenue yesterday and saw The Father was on.
oh yeah, it's going to be on next week too, so you can still see it.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to take myself off to see that, even if it wins or not.
Okay. It's worth it. Yeah.
It's got to be seen.
There's another film that we saw that was on the list of whatever Oscar, but obviously not best film, but it was called Unorthodox.
Oh,
I thought that was so
good.
powerful, so good.
That young
Two
woman,
women, right?
Pardon?
Two women in an Orthodox community who fall in love, right?
Yeah, which one is
No.
that?
no, it's about the young woman who decides not to stay in her community.
Oh,
And
she,
She's the arranged marriage.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's a musician. She has secretly, she's been able to be involved with music with her grandmother because they can't even do that. And she escapes and she gets into a musical community. It's extremely well done. Extremely well
But
done.
it's your story.
The thing
Yes.
that I remember reading about that, Bonnie, was that they did extensive research with the Brooklyn Yiddish community,
Yes.
and they gave their imprimatur to it.
Yeah.
Said it was perfectly fine. It was exactly what it was.
Hasidic.
Yeah,
Hasidic. Mhm.
yeah, Unorthodox. Oh yeah, fine movie.
It was TJ. I would encourage you. She gets enough money to fly to Berlin, where her mother lives, and her mother had also escaped from this community, and she felt that her mother didn't have any part of her life, and then she finds out why her mother didn't have any part in her life. Her grandmother brought her up.
Oh.
But I thought it was very telling.
Yeah.
And it was in it. There's a wedding ceremony, and they had gone to great lengths to make sure that it was as orthodox as possible. I thought it was very well done.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's worth watching it for the cultural side. Never mind the story.
Sure.
Right. But the story's compelling.
Oh, the story is compelling. Yes,
Yeah.
I must agree. In fact,
She
I watched it twice. Once for the story, and then I went and watched it again to just pick up on the cultural part of it. Yeah.
I just had a thought, well, from my notes, that there's a theatrical release coming up in July, on July 9th, that you definitely want to see on the big screen. It's called Summertime, from the director of Blind Spotting. And this was done like in the summer of 2019. And the director got involved with the program in LA called Get Lit, L-I-T, like Get Literature, but also Get Lit can mean get drunk, right? But that's the play on words. But so Get Lit, and he was working with or involved with these young people in the Get Lit program, and he ended up making a movie with them, each person doing his or her poetry or dance or song or whatever. And the energy that comes off the screen from Summertime is electrifying, and it's all around art, whether it's the poetry or whatever. It stories, lively editing, dynamic, poetic. I was blown away. And they're such personal stories. And he interweaves them expertly. And they're all young people. It's all colors. It was just fabulous. So
Good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. We've got something to look forward to.
yes, we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Janet?
Judy, I really want to thank you for coming today. We're all going to be watching and seeing what happens on Sunday, but I really appreciate this. Is far more interesting than
Yes.
than Sunday.
Well, thank you,
I
guys.
appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you, TJ.
Mwah.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Hey, Christina. Christina's walking the Great Wall of China, I think. I'll meet you guys. It's so nice to see you all. Janet, invite me back again someday. Would
I
you?
certainly will.
All
I
right.
certainly will.
We love you, TJ.
It's a
We
great
love you,
trip.
Judy. We'll see you soon.
Okay.